Hi, and welcome to this week's Tips of the Week, all about time. Hi, I'm Debbie Debonair, and I'm bringing to you the Tips of the Week for the Acts of the Heart newsletter. And as you know, this week's topic is time, and time can be spoken about in great depth on all different kinds of level, depending on what area of time you're talking about. So what I wanted to focus on with the tips of the week was about how we waste time, because time, once it's gone, we can never ever get it back. So it's really important, especially if you deal with stress, anxiety, depression, that we really are aware of how we waste our time. Now, you don't have to, you don't have to be dealing with stress, anxiety, and depression to find yourself wasting time. And it's a really good exercise to take some time to actually sit with a notepad and write down what you do on a typical day. When you do that, this gives you an insight on where you may waste time. And often, a lot of the time, we say, oh, there's not enough hours in the day. Yet when we sit down and we actually make that list and see where we waste time, we can actually claw some of that time back. Do you need to sit for 4 hours and watch the TV on a night time? A lot of people have dinner and then watch TV till they go to bed. Is that a great use of your time, or would you see that as a waste of time? Now, that's also dependent on your lifestyle and why you sit and watch television. Is it a form of recreation? Is it a form of relaxation? Or is it a habit that you've got yourself into? And if it is a habit, that habit could be seen then as a waste of time. Okay, especially if your time, when a lot of people say my time is precious. Okay, if your time is precious, or you're looking for that extra half an hour or that extra 15 minutes or that extra hour in your day to do something that you really want to do but are struggling to find it, that exercise of journaling on what you do in a typical day and even in a typical week, because you may not find the time in one day, but you may be able to find 15 minutes over 4 days to get your hour back. So, be mindful of how you use your time and how you waste your time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some tips on how to take better control of your time. So, shift the time you do control. There are many times in your life that you have no control over. For example, if you work, okay, your time is controlled by an employer, by the time you start, and the time that company or business finishes. If you work for yourself, you have a little bit more control over your time, because it's up to you how you use your time, what you do with your time. And again, it's determined by the type of business that you're running as well. Also, you may have children. So you are controlled by the time school starts and the time school finishes. Your time's controlled by the holidays, excuse me, by the school holidays. So your time has to then work around your children being off school. So shift the time that you do or you are in control of. So what do I mean by that? You concentrate on shifting the time you do control. What are your priorities for your time? Don't get overwhelmed, but start small. Overwhelm comes when you start overthinking about the lack of time that you have. You have to do things you want or like to do, so start small. So if there's something that you've been yearning to do, but there's just not enough time in the day, where can you bring that time that you control? How can you pull it back? How can you shift it? So again, start by listing down the things you want to do in your life. Then start with small increments of time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at a time, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, where you can fit in this new thing that you want to do in the time that you have, that you are in control of. And currently, if you do not have time to do what you really want to do, it's really important that you look at how you do spend your time. And are you spending time on things that aren't important to you? That if you take back 10, 15 minutes from them, won't actually affect them, but will have a much more positive effect on yourself. What are your commitments? Are any changes possible in those commitments that you have? We often fall foul of continuing to commit to something when the commitment is no longer there or needed. For example, an afternoon activity or an after-school activity that your child no longer loves, but week in, week out, you are committed to taking them to that activity. If they're not enjoying it, if they're not interested in it anymore, why are you putting both of you through that time constraint that you can be using elsewhere, where you would both be happier and you would be able to do the things that you want to do in life around what your child wants to do? And it may be something that you can actually do together, and that would be a great use of quality time together. Your health and well-being can often be determined by how you feel about your time, and can often be the cause of stress unnecessarily because of the time pressure that you put on yourself that you don't actually need to put on yourself. And a lot of that is down to changing your mindset, and this would help in many, many cases. For example, you may say to yourself, right, at 7 o'clock, I'm going to go and do an hour's run. Do you need to do an hour's run at 7 o'clock? Or could you do half an hour at 7 o'clock in the morning and then another half an hour at 7 o'clock at night? And give yourself that half an hour in the morning to give you more time to get ready and prepared for the day. It's all about noticing how you spend your time and where you can make those little tweaks. And also, changing your circumstances can have a positive effect on how you control your time as well. So there's just a few tips for you, just to see how you can better control your time. And don't be judgmental of yourself when you do the exercise about where you feel you might waste time. There's no judgment involved. There's just you giving yourself clarity on where you can bring some time back into your life, where you can enjoy your life better, where you're not overwhelmed by the lack of time that you believe you currently have. So don't Don't do any judgment. Don't play the comparison game with someone else. You know, the person next door's got all the time in the world. You don't know their circumstances, okay? They might seem like they have all the time in the world, but they may not. They may be thinking the same things as you, like you don't have enough time in the, you know, they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody's circumstances is different. So just focus on yourself. Focus on how you spend your time. And if you're not spending that time in a way that is nurturing you, that is nourishing you, that is making you feel good, make those changes. You know, if you're in a job that's 9 till 5 or 9 till whenever, is it the right job for you? Are you enjoying it? You know, I used to work 12-hour shifts and I actually loved working the 12-hour shifts because of the job that I was doing. But I've been in jobs working 9 till 5 that I absolutely hated. And, you know, the time dragged, you know, and that's not what you want. You want to enjoy the time that you have. And, you know, I'm not saying, you know, give up your job, be sensible, okay? But if it's a job where you feel that time is just dragging for you and you're not enjoying it, then you have the choice to do something better with your time by looking for a job or a business where that is better suited to you, that is more enjoyable for you. So you've got a lot of thinking to do, a lot of note taking perhaps, but give yourself this time to control your time better so that you can give yourself some time back. I hope these tips have helped you. Please, you know, email me, jump onto Facebook, send me a message if there's anything that you need further assistance with. And I look forward to seeing you all again in our next Word of the Week, Tips of the Week. Take care. Have a fantastic week ahead. Bye for now.